Have you ever found yourself, mid-sentence and the word you're looking for just vanishes? Poof, gone.
Oh, absolutely. Or that classic walk into a room and completely forget why you went in there in the first place.
Exactly. We've all been there. That slightly frustrating feeling when your memory's just not quite cooperating.
hmm
Maybe you're prepping for a big meeting or, studying for an exam or even just trying to keep track of daily stuff. It can feel overwhelming, right? Like trying to hold on to smoke.
It really can.
And we all want to remember things better. Names, facts, where we put the car keys. It's universal.
Definitely.
So today, that's exactly what we're diving into. Understanding how memory works and how we can, well, give it a serious boost. Okay, let's unpack this.
And what's fascinating here is where we're getting our insights from today. We're drawing on some really practical stuff from a BBC Learning English program.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, featuring a psychology professor and some other really good BBC content too. So this isn't just like abstract theory.
Right. Actionable stuff.
Exactly. Actionable strategies you can genuinely use, starting today. So our mission, if you like, for this deep dive is to pull out those surprising facts, those useful nuggets, and the techniques that can actually help you enhance your memory.
Making things a little less forgetful, maybe a bit more efficient.
That's the goal. A lot more efficient, hopefully, and, feeling more connected.
And efficiency, especially when we're talking about our brains, that's something we all kind of want, isn't it? Memory isn't just remembering trivia.
No, not at all.
It's absolutely fundamental to who we are, how we see the world. Our sources define it as this three-part process, the ability to encode, store, and recall information.
Encode, store, recall. The big three.
Yeah. And when you really stop and think about that definition, it's huge. It's how we know who people are, where things are kept, and how things look.
Without it, every day would be starting from scratch.
Completely. Imagine meeting everyone for the first time, every time, or never finding anything you put down.
It's almost unimaginable, really.
Think about those small moments in the day. Remembering a colleague's name avoids that awkwardness. Right? Finding your keys when you're rushing out, remembering that key detail from a conversation, it underpins almost everything we do.
Every interaction, every decision.
And when it fails, even for a second, it feels frustrating, like a betrayal almost.
Yeah, it can totally derail you.
But when it works, when your memory is sharp and you just pull out that fact or that name, there's a real joy in that, isn't there? That feeling of being on it.
Definitely. It's a cornerstone, like you said.
Yeah.
Defines our continuity, our ability to learn.
Absolutely. A cornerstone of our cognitive existence.
And, while its role is undeniable, it's also really crucial to get that memory isn't infallible. It's not static.
Right. It fluctuates.
It really does. It's incredibly intricate. And importantly, it's vulnerable. Vulnerable to loads of things, internal and external, that can mess with the process.
Okay, so what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, our source material points to several key factors. Things like your overall health, anxiety, mood, stress, and tiredness.
The usual suspects.
Pretty much. But they aren't just minor things that make you feel a bit off. They actively interfere with the brain pathways involved in memory.
How does that work exactly, the interference part?
Well, let's take stress, for example. Chronic stress. Your body pumps out cortisol. Now, short bursts are okay, fight or flight.
Sure.
But long-term high levels, that can actually be bad for the brain. Studies show it can potentially shrink the hippocampus.
Hippocampus, that's the memory center, right? Or one of them.
A critical one, yeah. Absolutely vital for forming new memories. So if cortisol impacts the hippocampus, it messes with the very first step in coding, getting the information in.
So if you can't encode it properly,
then storing it is hard, and recalling it later becomes, really difficult, maybe impossible sometimes.
wow, okay.
Think about that example the source uses, taking an exam.
High stakes, lots of stress, usually.
Exactly. And the material really stresses getting a good night's sleep and to keep healthy. Why? Because when you're stressed or anxious or just exhausted,
Your brain's not working at 100%.
not even close. Your prefrontal cortex, the bit for focus and planning, it's less effective. Your hippocampus is struggling. The whole network is just sluggish.
Creating that ripple effect you mentioned.
Precisely. Core encoding leads to poor storage, which leads to poor retrieval. It's a chain reaction.
So understanding these vulnerabilities isn't about making excuses.
Not at all. It's the first step to building resilience. It's about knowing what affects your memory so you can try to manage those things. Create the best conditions for your brain to actually remember stuff.
Setting the stage for success. I like that. It really shifts the focus from just trying harder.
Right. It's about working smarter biologically and psychologically.
That makes so much sense, especially that stress hippocampus link. It resonates because, I mean, back when I was studying exams,
Yeah. What was your method?
my go-to is just writing things down again and again and again and again.
The repetition route.
Totally filling up notebooks, just hoping sheer volume would somehow drill it into my brain.
Did it work?
Well, I passed, so something stuck, but it probably wasn't the most efficient way.
Maybe not.
And it brings up that point the sources make. People have different styles to help them remember. My repetitive writing thing might be useless for someone else.
Absolutely. It makes you think, doesn't it? What's your natural approach when you need to learn something? Do you grab a highlighter?
Or listen to a podcast, maybe?
Or do you need to physically do something, build something, tinker with it?
Yeah. Finding your own style seems key.
It's huge. And building right on that, the BBC's I Wonder Guide, which our sources mention, really unpacks 3 main learning styles.
Okay, what are they?
They identify visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Knowing your primary style, maybe even blending them, can really optimize how you take in information and, crucially, how you recall it later.
All right, let's break those down. Visual first.
Yep. Visual learners, as the name suggests, learn best by seeing. Think diagrams, charts, mind maps, infographics, color-coded notes even.
So someone learning history might draw a timeline.
Exactly. With pictures, symbols, or anatomy. A detailed diagram is way better than just reading text for them. They need that mental picture.
Makes sense.
Okay, what about auditory?
Auditory learners. Hearing is key. Lectures, podcasts like this one.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Group discussions, debates, even just talking things through out loud to themselves. That's how they process and store information best.
So recording notes and listening back, or study groups.
Perfect examples. The sound, the rhythm of speech, active listening, that's what locks it in for them.
Okay, and the last one, kinesthetic.
Kinesthetic. And this one, as you said, sounds a lot like your method. It's all about doing, practicing something over and over again.
Hands-on stuff.
Totally hands-on. Experiential, engaging the body, like learning to code. You don't just read about it, you write the code. You experiment, you debug.
Or building a model, maybe role-playing for history. Precisely. Working through math problems step by step, physically doing it. The action itself creates those strong memory traces.
Fascinating how different they are.
Right. And this raises an important question. How do these styles interact? Is one actually better than the others?
What does the research say?
Well, it's complex, obviously. But generally, the power lies in blending them. While knowing your main style helps you play to your strengths.
Like starting with that.
Yeah. But the strongest memories often form when you engage multiple pathways. So a visual learner might draw something
Visual.
while explaining it out loud
Auditory.
and maybe even acting out a part of it.
Kinesthetic. Got it.
Exactly. That multimodal approach creates this richer web of connections in your brain, makes the info stickier, easier to retrieve later, especially under pressure.
So it's like creating a full mind, full body memory experience.
That's a great way to put it.
Thinking about blending, even when I was doing all that writing, I'd find myself doodling little diagrams in the margins, kind of instinctively mixing visual and kinesthetic. See? Your brain was already trying to optimize.
Maybe. But what if there's an even better way? Something potentially more powerful that most of us just don't think about.
Go on.
Well, our sources brought up this really fascinating new study. It suggests there might be a best way to improve your memory. And the answer is drawing.
Drawing. Just sketching things out.
Yep. Simple as that. This insight comes from Professor Daryl O'Connor at the University of Leeds. He was talking about it on BBC Radio 4's All in the Mind.
Professor O'Connor. Okay.
And here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Why drawing? What makes it so special compared to, say, writing notes?
Well, apparently it taps into some deeper cognitive processes.
It does indeed. Professor O'Connor's research points to a couple of key reasons why drawing is so effective, often better than just writing words.
All right, lay it on me.
Okay, first, drawing leads to what he calls increased contextual representation of the object in one's mind.
Contextual representation.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly? Contextual basically means understanding something in the situation where it usually exists, how it relates to its environment, its purpose.
Okay.
So when you draw something, let's say a simple coffee mug, you're not just sketching an outline. You're thinking, even subconsciously, about its function, what it's for.
Holding coffee, holding pens.
Right. Where does it usually sit? On a desk. In a cupboard. What does it feel like? Heavy. Smooth.
Ah, so you're connecting it to its world.
Precisely. As the source says, as you draw something, you're creating a picture in your mind about what it is, how you use it, and where it is used. That richness, that connection to context, makes the memory much stronger.
More hooks to hang the memory on.
Exactly. More pathways to retrieve it later. The second reason is about detail encoding.
Encoding again, changing information so it can be stored.
Right. Now, writing words mainly uses language pathways, which is fine, but drawing forces you to engage on a much deeper, multi-sensory level.
How so?
Well, think about it. To draw something, even badly.
Like my drawings.
You have to process its visual details, its shape, size, proportions, texture, maybe how light hits it. You're forced to really look and represent multiple aspects.
So you're using visual processing, spatial awareness.
Visual, spatial, the motor skills of actually drawing, and often semantic what the thing means. It creates this incredibly rich, multi-layered memory trace.
Like a high-res 3D model instead of a quick snapshot.
Perfect analogy. That depth of processing strengthens the memory, makes it more durable.
Wow.
And Professor O'Connor also mentions that this method makes a lot of intuitive sense.
Intuitive, like you just feel it works.
Yeah, based on feelings rather than facts or proof. That gut feeling often lines up with these deeper cognitive benefits even before science proves it. Our brains kind of know deep down that this active engagement is good for remembering.
That is genuinely fascinating. It makes you wonder then. I wonder if this means artists have good memories. Because they're doing this all the time.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
You'd think, right. While the study focused on the act of drawing specifically for memory tasks.
Right, in a lab setting, maybe.
Yeah. But it's logical to think that people who constantly engage in that deep, multimodal processing, artists, architects, designers, maybe surgeons, visualizing operations, they might develop really refined memory pathways for that type of information.
They're constantly practicing that encoding.
Exactly. And think about the broader implications. Learning a new language. Don't just write the word apple.
Draw it. Draw someone eating it, maybe?
Yes. Connected to action, context, visuals, or complex science concepts. The water cycle.
Draw a diagram, a flip.
Embed it visually. The source is clear. Drawing is much stronger than just remembering writing down the words because it forces your brain to interact on so many more levels. It's active creation, not just passive reception.
Active creation, I like that. It turns learning into something you do, not just something you absorb.
Precisely.
So drawing is a big one, a really powerful tool. But the sources didn't stop there, did they? They mentioned other things too.
No, definitely not. It broadened out to other helpful methods. Things like doing crossword puzzles and Sudoku.
Ah, yes, the classic brain trainers. Especially helpful when you're older, the source said.
Right. It connects to that whole idea of brain training, keeping the mind active, like exercising a muscle.
To keep it sharp.
Exactly. And that becomes really important when we think about aging. The sources rightly point out that as we get older, we can often have more difficulty retrieving information from our memory.
Right, not necessarily learning new things, but pulling out what's already there.
Often, yes. It's like having a huge library, but sometimes struggling to find the right book, even though you know it's on the shelf somewhere.
That's a good analogy.
Now, it's important to distinguish that from, say, Alzheimer's, which the sources also mention. That's often more about difficulty encoding information in the first place, getting the book into the library.
A different kind of challenge entirely.
A very different challenge. But for healthy aging, things like puzzles, learning an instrument, a language, even just staying socially active.
They all help.
They provide constant cognitive stimulation. They maintain neural pathways, encourage plasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, and build cognitive reserve.
Cognitive reserve, what's that?
Think of it as your brain's backup capacity, its ability to cope with challenges or even damage by using alternative strategies or networks.
Ah, okay. So building that up is good.
Very good. The key takeaway is simple but powerful. Any way to keep our memory working is a good thing. It's about proactive care for your brain.
Proactive care. Which brings me back to that quiz question I threw out earlier from the BBC Food website.
Oh yeah, the food for memory. Eggs, spinach, or bananas? I went for spinach, feeling strong like Popeye.
Haha. Well, here's the twist from the source. That was sort of the wrong answer.
Sort of? How can it be sort of wrong?
Because they were all correct.
What? Eggs, spinach, and bananas. All of them.
All three. Apparently, they're all good examples of foods that support memory.
Well, I stand corrected. That's actually quite surprising.
It was a real aha moment for me, too. The reason, the source says, is that foods rich in B vitamins are important as they provide protection for the brain as we age and support good memory function.
B vitamins.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes nutritional sense.
My first thought was genuinely, right, I think it's time to change my diet. It lifts the conversation beyond just mental tricks, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It brings in fundamental biology. It's not just what you do with your brain, but what you feed it.
So how critical are these B vitamins?
Oh, incredibly critical.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
it just highlights that memory improvement isn't just about techniques like drawing or doing puzzles. It's fundamentally tied to overall brain health.
The brain needs the right fuel.
Like any high-performance engine, exactly.
Right.
B vitamins play specific vital roles. Vitamin B12, for instance, essential for myelin.
Myelin, the insulation around nerve fibers.
Precisely, like insulation on a wire. It ensures signals travel fast and efficiently. If myelin is damaged, maybe due to low B12, signals slow down. That impacts thinking speed, processing recall.
Wow. Okay. And other B vitamins.
Others like B6 and folate or B9, they're crucial for making neurotransmitters.
The brain's chemical messengers.
Yep. Serotonin, dopamine, and especially acetylcholine, which is directly linked to learning and memory. Without enough B vitamins, your brain just can't build these messengers properly.
So the communication breaks down.
Communication slows down, encoding is harder, storing is harder, retrieval is harder. It compromises the whole system.
So while drawing helps you encode better,
And puzzles give you a workout.
the B vitamins provide the underlying biological support, the building blocks.
Exactly. Found in eggs, leafy greens like spinach, bananas, whole grains, nuts, legumes. They provide that foundation. They ensure the brain cells have what they need metabolically for the techniques and exercises to actually work effectively.
It's holistic. Everything works together.
Totally synergistic. Cognitive strategies, mental exercise, nutritional support is all part of caring for your memory. A truly multifaceted approach.
Wow. Okay, what an incredibly useful deep dive that was. We've covered so much ground.
We really have.
We started by just establishing how vital memory is, not just for facts, but for navigating life, solving problems, our sense of self.
The absolute foundation.
Then we looked at how things like stress, anxiety, even just being tired can really make memory vulnerable, affecting encoding, storage, retrieval.
Understanding those weak points.
Yeah. Then we explored the different learning styles, visual, auditory, and that kinesthetic one that felt familiar.
Finding what works for you.
But the big surprise, for me anyway, was that research on drawing. How powerful it is.
Boosting that contextual representation and detail encoding.
Making things stick so much better than just writing. And then we broadened out again, talking about brain training, puzzles.
Keeping the mind active.
And finally, hitting that crucial point about nutrition. Those B vitamins. Supporting long-term brain health, not just immediate recall.
It all ties together.
It really does.
It's been fascinating, hasn't it? And remember, knowledge is most valuable when understood and applied.
Right. Take these ideas and try them out.
Exactly. Experiment. See what works for you. Maybe grab a sketch pad next time you need to learn something. Or make sure you get that sleep before a big day.
Or just add some more spinach or bananas to your shopping list.
Every little bit helps. Every small step contributes to building a stronger, more resilient memory.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now as you go about your day, learning things, meeting people? If drawing works so well because it deepens that contextual representation and forces that detailed multisensory encoding, what else might do that for you?
That's a great question to leave people with.
Could it be building models? Using a big whiteboard to physically map things out? Even just pacing while you rehearse something?
Maybe the key is finding your way to actively engage.
Perhaps. Perhaps unlocking your best memory isn't just about what you learn, but how you physically and mentally engage with it. Mind, body, senses, all working together. Something to think about on your next deep dive into, well, anything.